Yeah, you have it. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's mega Purvanchal Vikas push in pole-bound Uttar Pradesh. High-octane Purvanchal Blitz was in full display today as Prime Minister Narendra Modi made a Herculean landing in a C-130J Hercules aircraft. He dedicated this 341-kilometer long Purvanchal Expressway connecting Lucknow all the way to Ghazipur. 9 districts that it connects, now known to be a lifeline of Purvanchal. Prime Minister Modi accused the past regimes of only giving mafiavad and poverty to Purvanchal. Let's take a listen to what panned out today.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's mega touchdown. From an imposing Super Hercules heavy lift aircraft straight into the rough and tumble of UP's Purvanchal on a spanking new state-of-the-art expressway, sending a message to India's politically most crucial state at this mammoth gathering.
जौने धरती पर हनुमान जी काल नेमी के वध किए रहे, उस धरती के लोगन के हम पांव लागित हैं.
Modi asserted BJP means business when it comes to Uttar Pradesh, showcasing majestic expressways built in UP under the Yogi regime at breakneck speed and tore into opposition.
ये एक्सप्रेसवे उत्तर प्रदेश को तेज गति से बेहतर भविष्य की ओर ले जाएगा. ये एक्सप्रेसवे यूपी के विकास का एक्सप्रेसवे है. ये एक्सप्रेसवे यूपी की दृढ़ इच्छा शक्ति का पुनीत प्रगटीकरण है. ये एक्सप्रेसवे यूपी में संकल्पों की सिद्धि का जीता जागता प्रमाण है. ये यूपी की शान है. ये यूपी का कमाल है. आपने प्रचंड बहुमत देकर योगी जी को और मोदी जी को, दोनों को साथ मिलकर के अपनी सेवा का आपने मौका दिया. मैं कह सकता हूं इस क्षेत्र का, यूपी का भाग्य बदलना शुरू हो गया है और तेज गति से आगे बदलने वाला भी है. जो अपने समय में असफल रहे, वो योगी जी की सफलता भी नहीं देख पा रहे हैं. यूपी का एक क्षेत्र तो माफियावाद और यहां के नागरिकों को गरीबी के हवाले कर दिया गया था. यूपी में जो सरकार थी उसने मेरा साथ नहीं दिया. इतना ही नहीं, सार्वजनिक रूप से मेरे बगल में खड़े रहने में भी उनको पता नहीं वोट बैंक नाराज होने का डर लगता था.
Modi's address was followed by a majestic air show with Indian Air Forces, Sukhois, Mirages, Jaguar jets as showstoppers to drive home the point that the expressway boasts of a special 3.2-kilometer airstrip. Doubling up to handle takeoff and landing of aircraft in wars and emergencies. The 341-kilometer Purvanchal Expressway will connect Delhi to often neglected eastern UP with crucial 156 assembly seats. A region the BJP has gone all out to woo.
पूर्वी उत्तर प्रदेश जो आजादी के बाद से विकास के भौतिक विकास के उन मापदंडों को पूरा करने में विफल साबित हुआ था। विगत 4.5 वर्ष के अंदर प्रदेश के अंदर न केवल विकास और इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की दिशा में जो नए कार्य हुए हैं वह हम सबके सामने हैं।
India today tried to ascertain the quality of the tarmac-like expressway in a high-speed drive at 160 kilometers per hour.
The speed is getting higher from 20. It has somewhere and somehow reached to 60, and now it is touching 100. As you are seeing the visuals out here, that the glass, there is a movement of water inside the glass, but no movement has been come from the particular glass, and no spilling has been happened. 160, this is big, this is huge from Purvanchal Expressway. As you are seeing that how not a thing, see, there's a movement, there is a movement of glass. It is getting deviated towards left. As you're seeing the movement of the glass, I want my camera to focus on this particular glass. There is a slight movement as speed is raising around 160. The glass is moving towards left, but so far not a single water drop has spilled outside this glass.
Will the 22,500 crore rupees expressway ensure a smooth ride for the BJP in the coming UP elections? With Abhishek Mishra and Samarth Srivastav in Sultanpur, Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, this is of course a landmark launch today with the Purvanchal Expressway inaugurated by the Prime Minister. I'm going to take you through some of those benefits that will really in fact show up in the days to come. A few of them, as we see here, it's going to double up as a backup runway in war-like situation, and that's what the Prime Minister demonstrated today as he landed in the C-130J aircraft, almost to show that this is also a runway apart from being a highway. It also helps in quick mobilization of fighter bombers. That's also a situation, a war-like situation, that if it may occur in the future, this would help in quick mobilization of fighter bombers. It will also act as a force multiplier, will give big boost to the defense sector, give strategic boost to Indian Air Force as well. Of course, we're looking at a strategic boost to the military. Currently, we're looking at situations like war in the days to come. This will really add as a massive plus to the defense sector. Indian Air Force aircraft can also land in a case of an emergency. Like we said, this also doubles up as a runway in case of an emergency. Now, let me quickly cut across to decoding the highway here, the landing strip and the highway, as it works in both ways. This is a 3.5 kilometer stretch, a straight section on the highway that will also double up as a runway. We're looking at no crash barriers in the central divider area. In fact, the road is made of thicker layers of tarmac, which also helps in sturdiness of that entire stretch, which can double up as a runway as well. And it's constructed on a solid concrete base. Again, no loopholes here. It seems like all efforts have gone in to make this a sturdy, solid concrete base runway. We're looking at taxiways and parking areas that are also made to facilitate those people who may want to park their vehicles, and also for taxiways at this point, which will also help boost economy around that region of Purvanchal. Let me quickly cut across to Rahul Srivastava joining us live along with Abhishek Bhalla for more on this. Rahul, I'll start with you. The optics of it, a massive push along the Purvanchal region, or rather the Uttar Pradesh, eastern Uttar Pradesh region, which the BJP is really hoping to capitalize on ahead of polls. First of all, we know that this is a massive push to the defense sector, but also along the region of Purvanchal, we're going to see economy boost at this point right ahead of polls, which possibly the BJP will benefit. Take us through exactly the optics of this project as Prime Minister launches it today.
Nabila, this is the region where covered by the Purvanchal. It passes through 9 districts of Uttar Pradesh. But Purvanchal region, there are 17 districts in Uttar Pradesh and 9 odd in Bihar, which can be called one of the poorest of the poor of the country. And development is something which has never touched these areas over the last 75 years. And in these regions, I have, as a young journalist, recall that roads were terrible at one time, so much so that there was no power for more than 22 hours in a day. And people used to flock at political rallies because helicopters used to be a novelty. Netas who were flying in for campaigns would come there because they are seeing a helicopter for the first time. And to see the Prime Minister landing in one of the state-of-the-art Air Force assets, a kind of aircraft that people in the region would have never seen, fighter jets there, it's definitely a show of might, definitely. It's show of intent also. Show of intent in terms that the government is serious about bringing Purvanchal region, one of the poorest of the poor, as far as the nation's map of growth and development is concerned. The second is the political intent. Remember that the Purvanchal region has 32 odd seats for Lok Sabha, and that translates to over 150 odd assembly seats. And this is the region in which in 2019 the BJP had done very well. And remember that today's exercise is not just a very strong step forward by the Prime Minister and the BJP and the central government or the UP government led by Yogi Adityanath, but also it will be an attempt to cover up or perhaps make up for the losses which we're seeing. There were twin losses, and everybody will recall that when the first wave of pandemic started and the lockdown started, lakhs had started walking from Bombay, Surat, Baroda and several towns in the country. And one of the largest number of those people, migrants from states, had come to this eastern Uttar Pradesh region, especially districts like Siddharth Nagar and others. And then was a second most disconcerting pictures of bodies floating down the Ganga River. In the second
Rahul,
wave
but
of the
how did
pandemic.
you see it today?
Now,
Today, when you saw an audience there, when Prime Minister reached the spot, a massive crowd that gathered, did you see any kind of anger that came in from those people who came to just get a glimpse of the Prime Minister and, of course, the stunning C-130J Hercules aircraft that he landed in? It was quite a show indeed. Take us through what was the pulse on ground with people coming in large numbers only to get this one view of the inauguration today.
Remember, Nabila, UP since 2014 and 2019 and 2017 has voted phenomenally for Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister. It's his image that has carried the BJP over the last 3 elections, so much so that the BJP recorded its best margins when it came to 2017 assembly elections and 2014 performance in the Lok Sabha. That along with its allies, the BJP managed 73 of the 80 odd seats. That was because of Narendra Modi. And that is why the show, at the heart of it was Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister, bringing one of the finest aircrafts in the Air Force's arsenal to the region to indicate that there is now a highway which will bring in growth and prosperity. Also, remember that this opens up the gateway towards eastern UP, where a large number of migrant workers and others travel across.
Right.
It is perhaps a show of intent that if the BJP is voted back to power, this is what the BJP is going to get to Purvanchal region. And that's why there was a very enthusiastic response. And also, it's a strong political base of the BJP, so the enthusiastic crowds can be taken for granted. But yes, I think this inauguration, the Prime Minister has been focusing on Purvanchal. I recall a few years back, the start of the LPG scheme for the poor,
right.
Ujjwala Yojana, was kick-started from Balia. The idea was to keep Purvanchal engaged as a focus point of the central government schemes. And this
that's what
is yet
we
another
see as
step
their
to
effort clearly right ahead of polls in Uttar Pradesh. But Rahul, do stay with us. I'm going to quickly cut across to Abhishek Balla as well, joining us live. Abhishek, here, as much as we see, as Rahul said, we're looking at the BJP stronghold along Purvanchal. They want to lap up all that vote right ahead of elections in Uttar Pradesh. But at the same time, you see the Purvanchal Expressway cutting across 9 districts, which also clearly is a stronghold of the SP, the BSP, the Congress. This is a time and a place where the BJP really feels like they want to please the voters on ground. The Purvanchal Expressway will really flourish economy along that entire region, will provide for jobs in lakhs. And this is exactly the target. It appears that the BJP has almost achieved? Because what we saw today, a massive crowd who gathered only to take a glimpse of Prime Minister touchdown in the C-130J Hercules aircraft, which also doubles up this a highway here, doubling up as a runway as well in war-like situations. So what a might and really image flexing that the BJP has done on ground today along the Purvanchal region.
Well, Nabila, there was, immense political messaging as far as this event is concerned. And, that messaging is very clear that on one side, they are showcasing development, and on the other side, they are talking about the security of the nation, which the BJP has done time and again. And that's the reason why the spectacular air display was conducted today here. The C-130J, landed at the expressway. The Prime Minister traveled in the C-130J. Other than this, there were fighter aircraft, including the Mirage 2000, which was used in the Balakot airstrike. The Su-30 MKI, which is one of the premier fighter aircraft of the Indian Air Force. The AN-32, another transport aircraft, real warhorse as far as the Indian Air Force is concerned. So it's showcasing the Air Force's might, the military might of the nation is at the essence of BJP's, poll campaign. 3 days from now, there will be another event in Jhansi, which is also a defense event. The Prime Minister will be announcing some very important schemes of the Defense Ministry, along with, handing over some indigenous platforms to the armed forces. So it's very clear that the BJP has started its poll campaign using the development plank as well as the security of the nation and Atmanirbharta, self-reliance in defense. There is a UP defense corridor as well that they are showcasing as one of their big strengths. So it seems this is going to be the way forward, development as well as the military might of the nation.
Abhishek, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Rahul, as well, for joining us with those deep. Quickly cut across to some of those top images that really stole the show today. From this mega air show at Purvanchal, right after the Prime Minister launched the Purvanchal Expressway, we saw a mega air show. And one of those images here that really leaves a lasting impression, the Indian Air Force fighter aircraft Mirage 2000, which made quite a grand landing on the expressway. India currently has a fleet of 50 Mirages that's still in service. And then let me take you through image number 2. The Garud Commandos display combat strength after exiting from AN-32 aircraft. This was also a showstopper today that, of course, the people of Purvanchal region, as Rahul said rightly a little earlier, that barely have they seen an aircraft, forget a fighter aircraft. And today what people along that region saw was will indeed last as quite a memory for a lifetime. Here you have image number 3, IAF's Jaguar, Mirage and Su-30's jets in full display, arrowhead formation during the air show that was formed. Quite an impressive display here by the Air Force with the Prime Minister, of course, in full view of this on the front seat. We're looking at these beauties, IAF's Jaguar, Mirage and Su-30's, the jets on full display with the arrowhead formation during the air show that we saw. And then you have image number 4 with IAF's Kiran Mk2 and Su-30 streaming the tricolour during the show. Of course, a big pride for India. Like we said time and again, the Purvanchal Expressway not only boosts economy along that region, and of course connectivity has been made a lot easier with this expressway connecting to start with Lucknow to Ghazipur in barely 3.5 hours. Apart from that, a big boost to the defense sector as this also doubles up as an emergency landing runway with IAF's Kiran Mk2 and Su-30 streaming the tricolour during the show as India's pride undoubtedly. Now we're looking at image number 5 with AN-32 carried out a touch and go landing at the 3.2 kilometer long emergency landing stretch on Purvanchal Expressway. This was, of course, lasting images that will leave quite an impression in your memory for a long time to come, especially those along that region who barely have seen an aircraft, forget a fighter aircraft. Today they saw it all with the Air Force, in fact, in full display of their beautiful fighter aircrafts on that emergency landing strip today, along with the Prime Minister, of course, inaugurating the Purvanchal Expressway along that region. Let me cut across to Abhishek Mishra, who's right down ground zero along that expressway. Abhishek, we know that the people along the Purvanchal region. In fact, along those districts, they came in large numbers only to witness the show of strength by the Indian military, the Air Force particularly, of course, to have a look of Prime Minister Narendra Modi as he inaugurated Purvanchal Expressway. This beautiful air show that they got to see as quite a bonus along with the expressway unveiled. Take us through what was the real sentiment and the pulse that you saw of people on ground today.
Well, absolutely, Nabila, and it was never an opportunity for them when they were able to see not only just longest expressway of Uttar Pradesh, but also at the same time the kind of spectacular show which the Air Force has conducted there. And PM Narendra Modi himself was there witnessing all these fighter planes, touching down the runway. It was indeed, a feast to the eyes. And at the same time, a lot of crowd were cheering continuously. They were very excited with the fact how Sultanpur, for the matter of fact, for the first time have ever seen such visuals, that too on their land. Yeah. And it was also very important. It has never happened in the earlier history that any PM has visited this constituency, but this happened today, where PM Narendra Modi not only inaugurated this 341-kilometer 6-lane expressway, which is set to be one of the longest in Uttar Pradesh, but also at the same time, the kind of air show, the spectacular air show we have seen, is a clear indication what about the strength of this.
Undoubtedly, Abhishek. It was an indication, a show of strength almost for the BJP, who's already won with a whopping number of seats the previous election in 2017 along that region. The BJP literally swept that region. They're hoping to capitalize the same vote bank along that belt even this time. And what a way to do so with the Purvanchal Expressway inauguration, but it came with a fair amount of political backlash as well. Prime Minister Modi, who inaugurated Purvanchal Expressway in Uttar Pradesh today, speaking at that event, the Prime Minister launched quite a blistering indirect attack on the previous Samajwadi Party government. In fact, the Prime Minister has said that previous governments betrayed the people of Uttar Pradesh, who were looted by dynasty parties to get rich. He added that past governments blocked him from developing Varanasi. The Prime Minister has also said that earlier people would be looted on highways of Uttar Pradesh, and under Yogi Adityanath's government, the roads have now become much safer. Modi in fact concluded by saying that Purvanchal Expressway will bridge the gap and connect Uttar Pradesh and is quite an example of development in New India.
कितने ही काम थे जो यहां किए जाने जरूरी थे, लेकिन मुझे बहुत पीड़ा है कि तब यूपी में जो सरकार थी उसने मेरा साथ नहीं दिया। इतना ही नहीं, सार्वजनिक रूप से मेरे बगल में खड़े रहने में भी उनको पता नहीं वोट बैंक नाराज होने का डर लगता था। मैं एमपी के रूप में आता था तो हवाई अड्डे पर स्वागत करके पता नहीं खो जाते थे। उनको इतनी शर्म आती थी, क्योंकि काम का हिसाब देने के लिए उनके पास कुछ था ही नहीं। मुझे मालूम था कि जिस तरह तब की सरकार ने, योगी जी के आने से पहले वाली सरकार ने यूपी के लोगों के साथ नाइंसाफी की, जिस तरह उन सरकारों ने विकास में भेदभाव किया, जिस तरह सिर्फ अपने परिवार का हित साधा, यूपी के लोग ऐसा करने वालों को हमेशा के लिए यूपी के विकास के रास्ते से हटा देंगे। पिछले मुख्यमंत्रियों के लिए विकास वहीं तक सीमित था जहां उनका परिवार था, उनका घर था। लेकिन आज जितनी पश्चिम का सम्मान है, उतनी ही पूर्वांचल के लिए भी प्राथमिकता है। पूर्वांचल एक्सप्रेसवे आज यूपी की इस खाई को पाट रहा है, यूपी को आपस में जोड़ रहा है।
Now, as Prime Minister Modi was all guns blazing at the opposition, SP Chief Akhilesh Yadav too has launched a stinging attack on the Yogi government, questioning the timing of Purvanchal Expressway's inauguration. Let's take a look at this report where we're seeing credit war taking place even as the expressway has just been launched.
The 341-kilometer Purvanchal Expressway has become a political runway, with Akhilesh Yadav attempting to land a chance to take on the BJP governments both in the state and at the centre.
समाजवादी पार्टी की सरकार में बनाए हुए एक्सप्रेसवे का उद्घाटन कर रहे हैं। पहले समाजवादी पूर्वांचल एक्सप्रेसवे का नाम बदला और नाम बदल करके पूर्वांचल एक्सप्रेसवे कर दिया। जिस गुणवत्ता के साथ, जिस क्वालिटी के साथ वो एक्सप्रेसवे बनना चाहिए था, उसमें कंप्रोमाइज किया गया है, उस क्वालिटी के साथ नहीं बनाया गया है।
Hours before the grand inauguration of the expressway, the Samajwadi Party chief staked claim over this lifeline of eastern Uttar Pradesh. Akhilesh tweeted that it was his government that laid the foundation of the Purvanchal Expressway. He even alleged that the quality of the project had been compromised and cost cut so it could be inaugurated by the BJP just before the assembly polls. A charge that evoked a stinging counter by the UP Chief Minister.
और आधे अधूरे का उद्घाटन करने जा रहे हैं, वो भी समाजवादियों का काम जो जनता को समर्पित हो रहा है। हमें खुशी इस बात की कि पूर्वांचल की भी जनता अब एक्सप्रेसवे पे चल करके लखनऊ और दिल्ली पहुंच जाएगी। मैं इस मौके पर पूर्वांचल की पूरी जनता को बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं, लेकिन आधा अधूरा बन रहा है।
जनता ने जब उनको इस लायक बनाया ही नहीं कि वह किसी चीज का लोकार्पण कर सके, क्योंकि विकास का कोई विजन तो था ही नहीं उन लोगों के पास। एक नकारात्मक सोच के साथ विघटनात्मक गतिविधियों के कारण जिन लोगों ने प्रदेश के विकास को बाधित किया था, वह हर एक कार्य के साथ अपना नाम जोड़ने का कुत्सित प्रयास तो करते हैं। जनता सब जानती है।
The furious political face-off has only erupted, with other opposition parties also targeting the BJP.
सपा के मुखिया किस प्रकार सरकार चलाए हैं राज्य के अंदर, उनकी नोटिस लेने की आवश्यकता क्या है? जब से सरकार बनी है, उनको प्रेरणा लेना चाहिए योगी आदित्यनाथ जी से कि मुख्यमंत्री कैसा होना चाहिए।
सरकारों के काम में एक निरंतरता होती है। काम की शुरुआत कब हुई, फीता काटने का वक्त कब आया, तो फीता काटने वाला ये कहे कि ये हमने करके दिखा दिया, तो साहब आप तो जब से आए हैं जेब में फीता लेके ही चल रहे हैं, काम धाम तो आपने कुछ किया नहीं है।
The Purvanchal Expressway is being touted as the game changer. Will it change the game for the BJP in a vital region that holds 167 seats? With Abhishek Mishra in Lucknow, Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, I'm going to take you through some of the political side effects to the Purvanchal Expressway, or here, this is going to be the repercussion over the days. The region has about 130 assembly constituencies, assembly seats, which is why it seems like the BJP has been leaving no stone unturned to ensure that the entire region is in fact, impressed with this entire launch of the expressway in Purvanchal. We're looking at Varanasi, which is also in the eastern belt of Uttar Pradesh, which of course is very close to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And nonetheless, Yogi's Gorakhpur also in the same region of Purvanchal. So it becomes really important for the BJP currently to really lap in that support from this entire region of Purvanchal. We're also looking at this region extensively facing poverty and unemployment. And with the Purvanchal Expressway, it appears that the BJP is almost promised for jobs and to uplift that economy along that entire stretch. We're also looking at BJP laying special focus on the Purvanchal region for clearly reasons. We know very well now that the BJP managed to win a whopping 115 seats in the previous assembly polls. They're hoping to gain that support this time as well, considering Western UP seems to be embroiled in the farmers' protest. We're also looking at a slew of high-profile projects that have already been launched by the Modi government, including the massive international airport at Kushinagar very recently. Let me take you through Purvanchal's significance when it comes to Vidhan Sabha polls in 2017. We're looking at total seats 167. Out of those 167, BJP itself won 117 assembly seats there. We're looking at a whopping victory for the BJP in that entire belt. And then the Congress settled with barely 2 assembly seats. Barely any significance that the Congress has in that region. Samajwadi Party, on the other hand, has managed to win at least 17 assembly seats in that region, with the BSP bagging about 14. We're looking at the BJP, of course, trying to capitalize on this entire region. Where, of course, Apna Dal there won about 9 and others won about 8. So 17 in total, won by other smaller independent candidates there. But BJP, of course, with 117 seats that they won, they want to retain that stronghold this time as well. The biggest state in the country, BJP, of course, wanting to retain power this time. Now, with less than 2 months to go for Uttar Pradesh elections, the BJP is, of course, forcing quite focus on Purvanchal region. That's their main focus, it appears, on eastern Uttar Pradesh. And it's the Prime Minister himself who's leading this campaign, almost an arsenal of the BJP. The Prime Minister is their trump card, and that's what we see them extensively using, with Prime Minister visiting the entire eastern UP region 1 month after the other. He's planned it out strategically. He has visited at least 4 times in just the last 6 weeks now, inaugurated a slew of developmental projects. So why is Purvanchal region here so important, and what is the BJP's battle plan here? We're going to break it down for you. Let's take a listen.
Elections in UP may be a few months away, but the BJP is leaving nothing to chance. The BJP is bringing out the biggest weapon in its arsenal: Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself. With the equations unclear in Western UP, the BJP is paying special attention to Purvanchal. The high-octane blitz reached a crescendo on Wednesday when Prime Minister Modi made a Herculean landing in a C-130J Hercules aircraft on the 341-kilometer Purvanchal Expressway connecting Lucknow to Ghazipur.
आज ये पावन धरती का पूर्वांचल एक्सप्रेस वे के सौगात मिलत बा।
Prime Minister Modi's campaign began with his visit to Varanasi, his own parliamentary constituency, on July 15. Then, on October 20th, PM reached Kushinagar, where the people of Purvanchal were given the gift of an international airport as well as development projects worth over 450 crore rupees.
कुशीनगर के लोगों को, यूपी के लोगों को, पूर्वांचल पूर्वी भारत के लोगों को, दुनिया भर में भगवान बुद्ध के अनुयायियों को कुशीनगर इंटरनेशनल एयरपोर्ट के लिए बहुत बहुत बधाई।
In all of this, Prime Minister Modi has made his pitch clear. Vikas of UP under the BJP, in Lucknow and at the centre. But the Prime Minister is only getting started. And in the coming days, Prime Minister will be launching a fertilizer factory and an AIMS in Gorakhpur. During the 2017 UP Assembly polls, the BJP posted a strong performance in Purvanchal, sweeping 115 of the 164 assembly seats. BJP's campaign so far has revealed its two-pronged attack strategy. While Prime Minister Modi has stuck to the Vikas slogan in Uttar Pradesh, Chief Minister Adityanath is striking the Hindutva note in his campaign speeches. With Abhishek Mishra in Lucknow, Bureau Report, India Today.